I love Wednesdays. This man is a legend. Parliamentary sketch writer Quentin Letts. Quentin, good morning. I read that...
Wrong bloke.
No, I read that article about Yvette Cooper's eyes and her neck and a meerkat thing. Fantastic.
She's the great head wobbler.
She's the head wobbler.
She's furious.
She's always furious.
Doesn't matter what it is, but she's furious.
Quentin, today...
Jeremy.
Box office Boris. What are you thinking? I mean, we were talking earlier. Optics aren't great with Party. He'll say took some big decisions and got things right. How do you see it going, my friend?
Well, this is the COVID inquiry where they seem to have already decided that lockdown was a jolly good thing. And we are getting, from the suggestions in the newspapers today, it sounds as though Mr. Johnson's going to say, well, actually, lockdown wasn't entirely a good thing. And that when I was Prime Minister, he might say, I was having to juggle not only the arguments for lockdown about, it's not spreading the disease, but also the whack it's going to give to the economy. And also the downsides of lockdown as far as children's education goes and how people were feeling. People were feeling pretty depressed about life being locked up. Yeah. So I think we'll at last maybe hear this inquiry confronting the downsides of lockdown, which
rather than the tittle-tattle, Quentin. It's been all about who said what.
They'll probably confront him with some tittle-tattle as well, because they love that. And there's an element of legal showboating here. There's a man in charge of this, the lead counsel, called Mr. Hugo Keith, KC, Mr. Hugo Hindsight, KC, and that's what he's been called. And he is loving this, making himself a big character in all this.
I got quite annoyed the other day. I said to Nick, when Gove said, can we talk about whether this was man-made? Because if I was a family of a victim or anything, I'd want to know how, why, and what we can learn from. I know it's all about tittle-tattle. He shut Gove up. I see them clashing a bit today, him and Hugo.
It might happen. We are all victims, actually, Jeremy. Everyone talks about the families of the victims. We were all really badly hit. We are still being badly hit by this because of the economic blow-through. And it's not just us as well, it's the whole of the Western world that was really badly hit by this. So I hesitate a little bit to give special status to the families of those who died. I think we've all got a legitimate interest in this.
You've covered Boris for many years now.
I have.
This is probably the last time we're going to see him in this kind of scenario talking about COVID and his premiership, except for his own, highly paid...
He's coming back, Nicola, I've told you.
Highly paid speeches at various events, etc. Do you think that he will use this opportunity to centre the attention on himself, or do you think he wants to just slip away quietly?
He's normally very bad at these things. He's not good. Funnily enough, he's not very good. Funnily enough, this is a very odd thing to say about Boris. He's quite retiring. He's quite shy. He's not nearly as self-confident as you might think.
Right.
That's a small part of him. He's a mixed-up character, of course. But also, he's not very good at formulating arguments in public.
No.
There's a lot of goes on. And it's as though the ideas are slowly bubbling through the grey matter. And therefore, I suspect that Mr. Hugo Hindsight might have the better of him today in the ring. However, what Mr. Hugo Hindsight, KC, lacks is the legitimacy of having been elected Prime Minister, and also is the great aura of the personality. Boris is still a big draw, and he will, in his funny way, he'll shuffle in there. He probably won't be too tidy. The hair will probably need an iron. But, he will still have a persona.
Charisma.
And he will be able to project...
He's got riz.
An idea. He's got riz.
He's got riz.
I heard about this word. I've not yet...
Quentin Letts knows what riz is.
I've not yet used it. But he has got something, hasn't he? And that maybe is what people take away at the end of the day. They don't take away the legal minutiae.
Let's move on. Junior doctors, 35% announcing yesterday 9 days of strikes, 3, I think, from the 20th to the 23rd.
Oh, yeah, and nice Christmas break for them.
Yeah, and New Year. I've been quite... Nick and I wouldn't agree on this. Consultants, 13%, nurses, 8 or 9%. We had a nurse on just then who said that was nice. You ain't going to get 35%. I absolutely think they should sit around the table, but I think the timing is appalling, and I worry about people who are going to die as a result of it.
It's all political. Scargalites in white coats here, and the so-called junior doctors, some of whom are about age 50, and some of whom are on quite big money, actually. The term junior is just relative. Doesn't mean that these are all young. They're not all young doctor in charge types. Their union seems to be pretty militant. And don't let's be blind to that. Don't let's dress these people up as...
Well, let's just say the consultants and the nurses have settled, so one would have to question whether they want to.
You know, the so-called junior doctors have already had quite a lot of a pay rise. They've got to realise that our country is struggling economically because of lockdown and other things, and therefore I think that they are being a little bit irresponsible. However, I think some of the Tory ministers and so-called other people on the other side of the argument are overblowing the threat to this. I don't suppose. I'm not sure that people will die as a result of this.
Sure.
I think that the NHS is probably going to be able to come through it.
Because consultants will be able to step in for certain roles, etc.
There's always a bit of whipping up of the drama.
Of course there is. And these are people who are being paid currently £14 an hour. You could actually make more money by working in a cafe like Pret in the city. We surely deserve...
They pay 14 quid an hour in Pret.
Yeah.
See you later, I'm off. I'm off to Pret.
So, you know, as much as...
I'm off to Pret.
OK, just you and me, Quentin.
Jeez, man.
You can
14 quid an hour?
You can understand why they would be expecting, OK, maybe this 35%, as Jeremy says, is unreasonable. But as I understand, that's because their wages have been kept quite stagnant for some time now. But it's not just about pay, it's about retention. We need to keep junior doctors in this country rather than moving to Australia, moving to Canada.
I wouldn't train them on the
answer?
NHS and let them go.
Hang on, we, the public, have spent £250,000 per person training these people.
Yeah, completely
Do they not
agree.
get some sort of professional satisfaction out of it? I simply do not understand the strike mentality. I have never gone on strike. Struck.
Struck.
I have never
struck.
I have never struck for a day in my life, in my working life. I consider it a privilege to work. I'm trying to keep my family going. And if some boss isn't going to pay me enough, I'm going to go and work elsewhere and do another job.
But they don't have the opportunity to do that necessarily,
yes, they
do they?
There's a job shortage.
There's not another
a work shortage.
NHS. There's not another NHS that they can work for. They can go private.
Well, a lot of them are
that's
already...
part of the issue.
Hang on, Nicola. A lot of them are already working on the side
Yeah.
as temporary staff, and there's a lot of agency scams going on.
Yes.
I heard of a Herefordshire nurse the other day who in the last year has managed to earn £120,000. Now, you know, you don't get that on NHS wages. They're